Let's talk about forgiveness, especially forgiveness as it applies to us as caregivers. A diagnosis of dementia, or like I received at my house, Lewy body dementia from my husband, John. Those diagnoses don't happen in a vacuum. It happens in the context of normal life experience. That means when the diagnosis occurs, there already will be history that includes some hurtful experiences. We all have them. Most of us have close family and friend relationships that include some pain. This is the reason why I wrote the longest chapter in my book, Treasures in the Darkness, entitled Family Issues and Support. By the time I wrote that book, I had learned about many examples of the stress and pain that caregivers experienced while they grappled with the emotional history of close relationships, alongside the difficulties of disease management required by dementia. In addition to that, what do you do as a caregiver when there's also hurt and pain with the relationship you have with your loved one who's just received the diagnosis? The simplest way to handle this is forgiveness. Forgiveness is a key first step to healthy caregiving. It's important to note that there is an enormous difference between simple versus easy. Sometimes forgiveness can happen quickly, but often it's a lengthy and layered process. I found that counseling helped both my husband and me in that process. LBD forced us to get busy with relationship repair in its early stages. We were assisted with identifying and clarifying issues that needed to be addressed and learning to navigate with more wisdom. This strengthened us in our journey. The counseling process provided easy access. As an independent problem solver, was there to help me work through other relationship issues with wisdom during John's illness and afterwards during the grieving process. His help made caregiving easier in 100 practical ways. The most important of those was keeping my own balance while navigating for both John and me throughout the journey. It's easy to get off balance while on such a long haul. Our son referred to it as a long slog. This is an apt description. Past hurts and current disappointments can quickly take over in your thoughts, draining you of much needed energy. Energy for the daily demands of caregiving. Forgiveness needs to be for both past issues and for current things that happen. Once there's a healthy release of past hurts, the current ones often can be managed more easily. This is especially true if you have wise counsel available to give you perspective in the midst of them. Forgiveness liberates the person who forgives. The release of anger, resentment, and judgment of another person actually frees the person who's carrying these feelings around inside. It takes a lot of energy to carry those heavy emotions with you all the time. Letting them go is like dropping a bag of rocks or allowing a heavy chain to slide off your shoulders. That energy is now available to you for better choices. And with dementia caregiving, you need all the energy you can muster. Forgiveness of the person with LBD is also crucial, or the person with dementia. How are you going to manage all the demands of caring for such a complex disease if you're still carrying that bag of rocks or that heavy chain called unforgiveness with you every day. You aren't. It's too much to carry. How do I do that, you may say? The feelings are intense and the history is long. It is an act of the will. It is a choice. It is a decision. You say, I forgive Mary. I forgive John. Put that person's name there in the blank. Say the name of the person who wronged you. As the Papa character in the movie The Shack said, you may have to say it 1,000 times before you feel any different, but keep on saying it. If you cannot forgive them yourself, then ask God to give you His forgiveness for that person. One thing I learned in counseling was the power of the spoken word. The spoken word has great power to harm and to heal. After you've made the decision to forgive, and while you continue to repeat it as long as it takes, then you have another choice to make. Do I persevere in this relationship during the dementia journey, or do I let it go during the journey? I decided to persevere with those who were trying to work with John and me, even though their words and actions were sometimes painful and frustrating to me. It was worth it to me to deal with that when I knew that they wanted to do the right thing and they kept trying to do that. Growth happened within them and within me and those relationships. Today, those relationships are stronger and better because of the struggle. I'm glad that I did not throw up my hands and give up. I decided to let go of a relationship with a close family member during my caregiver journey. That person did not stay engaged with us, but faded away and disappeared just when that support was most needed by me. It was terribly painful. I finally had to decide to let that relationship go because she was not willing to work with me at all. The pain from it was too draining to my emotional energy. Our counselor helped me to deal with this process. There is a poem by an unknown author, which I included in full in my book. I want to share some of the lines from it. It defines the healthy perspective of letting go for the right reasons at a time such as this. To let go does not mean to stop caring. It means I can't do it for someone else. To let go is not to cut myself off. It's the realization that I can't control another. To let go is to admit powerlessness, which means the outcome is not in my hands. To let go is not to try to change and blame another. It's to make the most of myself. The dual decisions to forgive and to either persevere or let go of a relationship during the caregiver journey are important steps to take. The power of forgiveness is of great value and should not be neglected or avoided. The gift of forgiveness is freedom and peace. You are no longer in the grip of anger, resentment, and even bitterness. You're free to move forward and do what you were meant to do in your life. Now, I have a little bit of an assignment for you. First of all, Ask yourself this question: who do I need to forgive? Then ask God to give you his forgiveness of that person if you cannot forgive him or her yourself. And then finally, reflect on whether to let go or to persevere with that person while you're on the caregiver journey. Just so you know, that person I told you about that I needed to let go for the duration of the journey is now one of my very, very closest and dearest friends, as well as a close family member. So even those things can be repaired later. But while you're on this journey, it's important to release and let go and forgive so that you can do the job you've been given to do. And remember, that job is a heroic, very important job that you're giving to that person who has dementia, the rest of your family, and your community at large. Thank you for what you're doing, and have a blessed day.